Hey,
Hey, Leanna, good to see you.
yeah, I love to geek out on operations and integrations. And I also wanted to talk to you today too about some of the cool things you're doing. And also, I was hoping we could touch a bit too on how you actually manage to do all the things as a business owner, because I think you have like a really cool story about that. But there you go, right behind you.
Well, that's great.
Why,
So all the
why don't we
things.
start off by why don't you share like I always ask people this question, like
Sure.
what is your superpower and how did you figure out that was what your superpower was?
Well, that's a good question, and one that I can't succinctly answer, but I'm going to do my best.
Okay.
So, truthfully, I feel like my superpower is this. I am really good at delivering a great user experience. So, on the front end, not just on the front end, right? So for people that hire me, I help their audiences have a really good experience of their company on the interwebs, right?
Mhm.
But I also am into very deeply simplifying the back end to make it an easy user experience because let's face it, if I'm coming in to do operations, systems, processes, project management, online business management, people are hiring me because there's a void in their ability to do that, or they kind of have some idea and they've bootstrapped a lot of stuff together over the time of their launch.
Like a
But
Frankenstein
yes,
yeah.
yes, it's like the Franken system. That's what I call it, right? So then I come in to kind of help them move past they're kind of stuck. They can't really scale or they just realize they don't know what they don't know. And I'm
Mhm.
there to just kind of like take the jumbled puzzle pieces and put them back together in the smallest version possible as opposed to the 5,000 piece puzzle. We go for
Right.
like the 500 or 100 or 25 piece like baby puzzle.
Yes. Yeah. I think we're all about simplification, right? And yeah, it's interesting because I know that, things happen, right? You're doing launches, everything gets crazy.
Yes.
And I guess there comes a breaking point though when you just keep you like adding and just pushing stuff together and then it sounds just like becomes so massive that you really can't move like you can't move beyond that.
Yes. Yes. So I'll speak into that because I'm going through that with a client right now where there are a lot of things that, okay, let me back up. So many times our entrepreneurs are fast brained, fast thinkers, and they're like, oh, I want to do this. And then 5 seconds later, they pivot. Oh, wait, and can I do this and this and this? And you're
Squirrel.
sitting there going,
Yes.
there's always a way.
Mhm.
But if the way that I'm going to put it together in this, and this is like entrepreneurial ADHD style, is maybe not the most conducive to getting you your end result, which is the connection that you want with your person to deliver them the solution that they need, right?
Mhm.
So ultimately, then I kind of am like, take a step back and let's see how can we nurture them so that we don't need to have 12,000 shiny objects hitting them at once. And pardon me, I forgot to mute.
It's okay.
Um, Instead of having all those things hitting them at once, like back to back to back to back, let them like digest you, get used to you, build that trust, build that relationship, work on that thing so
Mhm.
that now you've got credibility for them to want to buy more and continue on the journey with you, even if you have tech wrecks that happen during a launch, for
Mhm.
example.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. So, and that's interesting because I know that's definitely something that we all fear, right? When we're in the middle of a big launch
yes.
and tech issues happen, and I've been in situations too, right, where yes, the community, like the public, some of them jump all over everybody, and some
Yeah.
of them are very, very understanding. So, what do you think is sort of key as you're building things up to allow the community to be forgiving when, say, for example, and sometimes it's a good problem to have, right? So many people go to the site and it crashes. Like that
Yeah,
will often happen, right? When you have a big
for sure.
launch.
For
Mhm.
sure. Yeah. So, what was the question? So, I want to make sure I
So
answer you.
yeah, because I thought it was really interesting how you come at it as well, how can we build and maintain this relationship with the public, like with the community, so
Mhm.
that they don't turn on you when tech issues happen.
Right. So, I guess the best way to develop and nurture that is to that sounds so trite, but it's true, is to give them all the value that you can as if they're a friend when you enter their email box or on the YouTube channel or however it is you're marketing organically and even paid, right? So if you have a conversational approach and you're more of a consultant style or a problem solver style, I feel like that works a whole lot better than, let's just say, original kind of OG advertising or
Mhm.
marketing approaches. So, like a contrasting example, I actually was just interviewing with somebody not too long ago who was looking for somebody to do bigger project management. And so I entered their funnel and I bought their first thing. And I gave them my honest feedback afterwards. And I'm like, thankfully you're not, we're not moving ahead. I'm like, I would love to give you my, just my input on this is my experience of your funnel as a user.
Mhm.
And they had like literally, I got 1, 2, 3 emails within 15 minutes. I had 3 upsells, 2 downsells in that funnel. And I had 2 texts and 2 calls within an hour of buying. And then within 24 hours, another 2 different people from their sales team wanting to upgrade me into the things that I said no to.
Mm.
So literally, I'm like, I haven't had any time for you to build me a relationship yet. Don't do that. Just
Mhm.
don't do that. Like, just think about when you go in to buy a car or a big appliance or something. Do you like to be attacked by the salesperson? I mean, yes, people work on commissions. I get that. But let's just like take a step back and say, okay, if this were me, would this how I want to be approached? Right.
Mhm.
And that's how I kind of approach things. And that's how I kind of frame things for entrepreneurs that are kind of teetering between the old way and the new way.
Mhm.
A lot of them, though, that I work with now, they already get it. Right. So they get it. And I don't have to have that kind of mindset discussion with,
Yeah.
with them because it is kind of really a mindset. And like, look, I know you're really successful, but you want to go on to the next level. This isn't going to get you. They're going to have a lot of churn and burn if you do it the old way.
Mm.
So,
So what are some suggestions you have when things do break? Because I'm also of the mindset that you will break things because you're trying new things. And it's almost like if you're not breaking something, then like you're not trying enough new things. But
yes.
things will break and just because it is what it is. So what are some of the what are some suggestions you have for us just in terms of when, the site goes down and, in terms of having that user experience, maintain it, keep it positive.
Right. So, first things first, don't panic.
Okay.
Easy enough to say, sometimes hard to do. A lot of times, as entrepreneurs, they panic and they're like, help, help. And they hit they hit you and they hit your tech team and they hit everyone and they're just like, ah. And we're like, okay, if you find out for the entrepreneur, right, or the business owner, right, the best thing you can do is keep everybody in the loop. This is what's happening. This is what we're doing to rectify it. This is, we're staying on it until, right?
Mhm,
And
mhm,
it's an always until, because if you don't stay on it until, now you're doing a disservice to the people who you're trying to serve.
mhm,
So I just working through a big issue again with a checkout during a launch. And we worked on it until and until and until and until. So every day this week we worked on it until, just uncovering layers and peeling back layers and figuring out
mhm,
how do we fix it. So we
mhm,
got it fixed finally, and then we broke something else. So it happens. And so as long as they are in the loop, and your customers, man, your support team, if you have a support team, right, they have to have a way to dialogue with people. And if it's kind of an urgent thing, I just say, hey, just forward it all to me. I got this, because I know how to talk to the client. I'm in the problem and I'm fixing the problem and I can tell them exactly what's going on. So
mhm,
that kind of helps too. So if you have somebody that's like this intermediary, an OBM, project manager, that can maybe step in if your customer support team isn't quite as versed. And if they are, have a template ready. Let them know. Let support know before the tickets start to hit. This is a problem. Or if they see it and it's hitting their customer support, like you and your customer support team need to be like this, so that you can get me or somebody like me in with your tech and getting it fixed just as
mhm.
fast, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
and that's a
just,
good point because I
yeah,
think a lot of times, people forget to keep the customer service team in the loop because 'cause they're
yes,
busy trying to put out the fire,
right.
and that's a really good point, and I really like that point too about having like giving some boundary or some expectation so that it doesn't feel like it's open-ended.
Yes, yes. And that's the biggest thing, like for me, another part of kind of how I help with that is it's just even sometimes still I'll loop in like in a blind copy the owner so that they see how we're dialoguing with the customers so that they feel like a sense of okay, they've got my back. Because really that's ultimately when an entrepreneur comes at you in panic or a business owner comes in you in panic, it's because they just want to make sure that you're as vested in them as they are in their customers, right? Or their
Mhm.
clients. So
Mhm. Yeah.
those are
No,
my tips.
that's really interesting. And I, like I said, I appreciate your approach to that because I think a lot of times when you're doing your mind is in the operations and stuff, you're not really thinking about the relationship side of it as much, right? You're just trying to fix stuff. So I
Yes.
appreciate that. Yeah. And if you were to talk to somebody who's starting from scratch, right, and they hadn't built anything yet, what's some advice you would give so that they're building from a strong foundation, and then
Mhm.
when they're ready for an OBM, an online business manager, then it's a smooth transition and you can really help them just grow instead of fix a whole bunch of stuff before you can grow.
What I love is that you just led me in naturally to the thing that I'm working on right now with people that are just kind of like, they've got a little something going and they're ready to hit growth and they're hitting me up now. So I'm
Yes.
working on these things that I'm calling like system sprints. And so what I'm doing is I'm helping them to develop like what I call their business brain. I mean, these are all like, this is also like recent that I don't even have everything named, but these names might stick, who knows? Anyhow, so what I ultimately say is if you if you want you've got to have like a few things. It just depends on the type of business you're in. If you're like a service based, like a coach, a creative, you're delivering your service. It's a little bit different than if you're delivering like a software or a product, but it's still ultimately the same. You've got to have a system in place for sending out your proposals, right? And scheduling your calls. So it's like this kind of CRM sales process little system, um, and a way to invoice and to receive your payments. That's all kind of integrated and works nicely together in a little package. And you've got to have a system in place for how you're going to do your marketing or letting people know about all the great things that you have, website, socials, whatever, however, ads. I'm a big proponent of whatever you choose, you give it a shot. It should work for you, and if it's not working, look at something else, right? So you have like the CRM system, like admin system, CRM system, marketing system. Those are the three like main basic things, right? And the way that I see it working best. So if you're especially a solopreneur, especially if you haven't even hired your first VA yet, okay?
Mm.
When you are working on your computer, dude, I'm not even kidding you. Pen, paper, Loom, Loom, right? Just screen share, record what you're doing, talk through it, talk out loud, talk to yourself. It doesn't matter if people think you're crazy in your house or your office or whatever. Just talk through what you're doing, because then you can take a process, and just, this is the greatest thing in the world. So you can take the things that you want to delegate down the road, right? As you're starting to grow and scale and you're like, I shouldn't be doing this $15 an hour test. I need to be doing the $1,500 an hour tests, right? You can then take them, you can go, here are my notes. You can, give them to them, type them, whatever. You can use Rocketbook, which is really cool. Another little techie thing where you can scan it and changes it into text so you don't have to retype it, whatever. Anyway, give them your stuff and then let them write out the process by watching their videos and reviewing your notes. And or you can write a basic little processor system for the first thing that you're going to delegate, link them to the video, link them to your notes, and say, now I want you to do this and make sure you can do this. And then if
Mhm.
you do it to 80% satisfaction, it's good. And you can update it as you see fit, right? Because you're in the process of doing it every day. Somebody that you give things to, this is the biggest thing, right? And this is the biggest thing. Something you're delegating to someone else is to take time and give it back to you the space to do what you need to do to grow and improve on your company. If they get it 80% or better, let them have it. Don't be micromanaging in it. That's like totally not what you want to do. But anyway, They will
Right.
find ways to improve the process over time generally, because if that's the only thing they're doing, instead of the
Mhm.
1,200 things you're trying to do, it's gonna get better, and that's the
Right.
test. That's the true test, so
Yeah.
those
So
are some
don't, yeah, and
tips.
don't keep, yeah, don't expect things. I think this is true in general delegation, right? Like don't expect
Mhm.
things for them to be able to do it 100%. Like you
No.
said, usually in most cases, 80% is fine,
Right,
to get the
right,
job done. Yeah. Yeah.
and that goes into another point too, is when you hire, and that's another thing too, that's part of kind of a business brain, is the hiring process.
Hmm.
Being able to hire the right type of person with the right, not just the right skills, but almost the right personality, and almost like that fills the gaps that you have in skill set and maybe personality, is almost better than if you try to hire somebody because you like them. I mean, it's good to get referrals, don't get me wrong. They're kind of pre-vetted for you, but I feel so many people fall into this trap of, oh, well, I'm picking that person because we get along the best and we're so much alike. I'm like, do you really need somebody that's so much alike taking over something you don't want to do anymore?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that's another kind of like, that's kind of the fourth thing that I would say is important in your business brain, but it's kind of more towards when you're ready to start scaling, you know?
Okay. And so what are some, like what are some indicators that somebody is ready to hire an online business manager?
Hmm. I haven't really thought of it that way. Usually how they've been coming to me lately in droves, by the way, which is great. I'm not complaining. I'm getting lots of
Well,
referrals
you're a rock
lately.
star, so
I'm like, what? Where is this all coming from? How do I duplicate me? So that even forces me now to start
Mhm.
growing and expanding and delegating more, right? So, which is good, because if I'm helping other people do it, then I should be doing it, do as I say, and as
Mhm.
I do, not
Yes.
right. So anyway, so I would say you're usually ready for an OBM when, as opposed to maybe a project manager or a VA or a tech VA or something
Sure,
like
or
that.
even just handing sort of the keys to the
Yeah,
empire over to somebody else when you've been doing it on your own.
right. You already have a VA usually,
Okay.
and you've probably already delegated something like social media or emails or like you've already delegated a couple of the things, right?
Mhm.
Leanne. So you've already delegated a couple of things. So the thing that I would say puts you into like OBM status is where you're feeling like, okay, I'm kind of on this precipice and this urge of being ready to grow.
Yep.
And I feel stymied and stuck and overwhelmed, and I don't know what to do next. And
Mhm.
I don't know, or there's that person. And then there's the other person that's just like, they're so good at their thing and they just want to be able to just do that thing and
Mhm.
nothing else.
Mhm.
So those are like the two people that are like a dead ringer for you're ready for an OBM.
Okay.
Because a lot of times, I'm not saying always, but a lot of times OBMs will step into almost a COO role.
Mhm. And
There's
yeah,
that.
so what's I have a couple more questions along those lines, but first is there a like do you also encourage people to have a certain amount of sales coming in, steadily before you're ready to kind of take that next step? Because I think it can be scary. Like you may even have a whole team of VAs, but to me, an OBM, an online business manager, that feels like more of a full-time role or like more of a major player, I think,
Yeah.
in your business.
I feel like here's the thing. I I can't say what if you're like six figure or seven figure or whatever. I can't say that there's any hard stops on that. What I
Sure.
can say is when I know this sounds a little bit off or woo woo, I don't know. When you're at the point when you know that you have enough money coming in on a regular basis, so you have an offer that's proven, right? And you
Mhm.
and you have enough money coming in on a regular basis where this is the best way to reverse engineer this, right? Go like, okay, any OBM worth anything is going to cost this to this. You can just go do a
Mhm.
search on, Glassdoor or whatever and find out. If I want them part-time, cut it in half, right? And then go, okay, with the offers that I have and the launches that I do, my projections for income for the year are this.
Mhm.
This is where I'm at. This is what it's going to cost me. Can I afford it?
Okay.
Can I afford it? So that is kind of more the logical way to do it. And there's other people that are just like, I know I need this. I know the money will come, right? And there are some people that are just like, I'm going to manifest. whatever your gig is. I'm a little bit of both, where I'm like 90% I'm going to reverse engineer and 10% I'm like, yeah, it'll come. I'll afford it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think part of it too is some of it is a leap of faith in that I think there's some point where you have to feel ready to, I guess, step off the precipice of it, because knowing that you're going to bring somebody and knowing it's going to be a sacrifice, because that's actually going to take you to the next level. Like I feel like it takes you to the next level that you would never get to on your own. And to me,
Absolutely.
that's the power of, hiring somebody like yourself. It can, like I said, I know it can be scary. And I think it can be scary sometimes too for established businesses too, right? But I think it's really, you have to ask yourself too, like, how, if I bring on this person, am I going to be able to 3x, 5x, as opposed to if I just keep going the way I'm going, everything's going to stay the same, or I might 2x, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
Right. So everyone wants, when it all comes down to it, you want a return on your investment.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
You just want to return on your investment. Even if you've got somebody full time and say you're paying $100,000 just to make it easy, right? And say you make $1 million, you're paying them $100,000, so you're paying them 10%, right? Okay. So for that $100,000, how many hours are they saving you? How many more things could you create that you couldn't, right? Because you were micromanaging or trying to always conduct the business. How much new revenue was generated because this person came in and took over and freed up your time and the ability to create it, right?
Yep.
So how much time, how much money, how much energy, how much mental bandwidth.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Those are all things that play into the ROI beyond just the straight numbers.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. And I think, because sometimes I think it's gonna be hard for people to think that through, just because it's not directly related to sales, right? And to try and justify.
Your quality of life is better because now, instead of working 8 to 8, you're working like 8 to 4 or 8 to 3 or 8 to 2.
Sure. Yeah.
And you can take Friday, Saturday, Sunday off and know that your team has you, your OBM's got you. Then how good does that feel?
Yes. It's very hard to go back. I can tell you that much.
It's
very hard to go back.
Absolutely is.
It is. So I wanted to switch a little bit just to talk a little bit about your business in terms of, I don't know if you're comfortable sharing about this, but I'd love to hear a little bit more about your story, where I know you were sharing with me, you were able to, just in your mindset, figuring out, how to figure out, hey, how many clients you want to have, how do you manage it? And also, if you have any tips too for other, you're also a small business owner too. If you have any tips too about how you go about filling your pipeline, and finding good quality clients.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see. The first, not filling the pipeline thing, that was the second thing. So the first thing is managing it all. Yeah. How do you manage it all?
Managing all your clients and figuring out like who, should you work with this person or not? And because I know like you're pretty, you do stay calm, and I know that but you also have designed things in a certain way so that you can support your lifestyle.
Yeah. So part of it is because I became a grandma like last year, at the end of last year.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And so first time grandma, and I'm like, okay, I'm 50 years old by now. Like, do I really want to be working these 12 hours? I don't need to. And, there's like certain goals that I set for, okay, this is the amount of money coming in that pays the bills. And this is the amount of money coming in that helps me reach some of these goals. Like we have a great goal to move to Mexico, hopefully by end of spring next year. So we're doing a lot of work on the house, getting that ready to go. But regardless, so what I kind of do to decide, how do I manage it all? How do, like literally it's like I vet people. 95% of the people that I work with have been referred to me. Okay. I do not like run paid ads. I don't have a pipeline filling thing. I'm building that now actually, but I don't have one in place currently. I get referrals from happy people. Here's my person, talk to this person. If she can help you, she will. Or if she has other suggestions, she'll give them to you. And that's pretty much my open door policy, right? That's kind of the goodwill you put out in the world comes kind of back to you. So anyway, I keep it straight by vetting, okay, what do they do? So I'll do a little research if somebody wants to, have a call with me, it's cool. Do the research. What are they doing? What do they have out there that's offered? Where are they, showing up on social medias? Like I do just little SWOT analysis, and kind of be like, okay, do I know who they are by name? Am I on their email list? Like, these are the things. And then I'll enter their funnel. Like literally, this is what I will enter their funnel. Like their free funnel, at least, their lead magnet funnel. And I'll see how I'm treated. Because how you treat your clients is generally how you're going to treat your team.
Good
So that's
point. Very good point.
that's a little step. That's a little hashtag research. That's number one. And then number two, what I do is I just set up, like literally, I set up a call, like you and I are chatting right now. This is how what's the word, formal I am with people. I'm just me, who I am. I show up fully and present. I communicate and I dialogue, and I try to get to the problem underneath the problem, right? Because we all think our problem is this, and generally the problem is underneath, multi-layers wide, right? And so I'll be like, I can or I can't help them, or I'm thinking in my brain, if I help them, will I outsource it, or is it going to take, what kind of chunk of time is it going to take for me to develop the thing and then outsource it, or develop the thing and then train them so that they can do it, or somebody on their team, right? Ultimately, that's my goal, is to be kind of a temporary person on a team so that I get everything firing, and then I can either exit and be a consultant, or if I remain on, it's in a much less, what's the word, in-depth way.
Okay.
Right. And that's another way to how I manage is I don't take on a bunch of new clients all at once. I stagger them based on, I know when I start somebody brand new that's got a lot of things, they're going to take a good 30, 60 days just to kind of tame, especially if everything is just very piecemeal or just been woven together, right? It takes time to unravel that. But that's kind of how I work it, so that I'm not onboarding a bunch of people at once. The people that I am onboarding, when I am onboarding them, who on my team can help me do some of the things. And if it's really going to be, I've got to get in there and get my hands dirty for a while, I'll wait. I'll start a waiting list for my people. Like, people are understanding. If they want you and you've been referred to them and you do good quality work, if they don't need you urgently, they will wait for you. And if they do need you urgently, you can do yourself a favor and find other good people that you can refer them to and say, hey, right now I'm full. I really would like to help you, but this person is a really good choice. Like, make friends with other OBMs. Like, I know that sounds crazy. Like, you want to build your business and make all this money. Yeah, you can make friends in the industry and be able to refer people out.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. I am so on board with you there. Absolutely. Yes.
So those are all the things, I guess, to do all the things.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think also, like, to that point, don't be afraid. Yeah. Don't be afraid to make friends with other people in your industry, because you can also share, like, I do believe like a rising tide lifts all boats.
Absolutely.
Right. And, and you can learn from each other. And, I've definitely grown because I've made friends with other media buyers, other Facebook ad buyers, and I don't feel like there's enough work to go around for everybody. So, and you're just going to learn from each other too. So, and I think, we can support each other. We really need to do that, especially, in these times.
Oh, yeah. And here's the thing too. What you put out, you will attract. What you focus on, you will get more of. So if I'm focused on finding somebody that's like a complete terror, rip my hair out, totally panicky, freaking out, like reactionary versus responding kind of person, if I'm attracting that, that means that's what I'm putting out. So then I have to take a step back and go, what the hell am I doing? How am I putting myself out there? Right. And then I get to, like, what I attract helps me have awareness sometimes that I may lack about what's going on, right? With like, how am I showing up? And I know, like, this is my litmus test. If I have too many all the things and I like go home and like my husband and I like get snappy with him, or my grandbaby and I'm like short with him, and I'm like, or my dog barking and it makes me annoyed. And I'm like, okay, too many all the things. What can I delegate? Right? Because I'm not going to say no to the clients I've already onboarded. What I'm going to do is, how can I make it better and take some of it off my plate?
Got it. I like that.
You have to have, like, implementers, OBMs. We need implementers and coaches. And if you have those things, if you do or you don't, I highly recommend them that you do. Get somebody that can help you, call you on your own BS, right?
Yes. No, yeah, I can see that because I can see how you can just really get in the weeds and just, or you get so consumed by solving everybody's problems.
Yes.
And I like how you basically treat yourself like a client, I guess, right? Because you're looking for
Yes.
the, yes.
Yeah, you absolutely. If you don't treat yourself the way you treat your clients, that's a way deeper thing that we can talk about today. I'll tell you that. That's shadow work stuff, that's deep stuff, that's limiting belief stuff. And it's okay to have them. Just awareness of them will help you get through them. So there's that.
Yeah. So I love some of the points that you brought up today, and I really like too how you your North Star is basically the customer experience or the user experience.
It
And
is.
I also like how it's also for yourself too, right? What's the user experience for you yourself too? So I really love how it comes all the way around. And that's also a really good tip about going into somebody's funnel because I think, for anybody that you want to work with, yes, if they have a funnel, definitely, go into it and see how you're treated. I really like that point because that's probably how they treat everybody else. So I really like that. That's a really
You'll
good
find
tip.
one of two things. They will either treat their people that way
Mhm.
or they've hired a really flippin' good writer who puts them out there in a way. And that's another thing too. If you show up authentically with your audience, if you show up how you are and you're not trying to put on this face or front,
Mhm,
that's the best damn thing you can possibly do. That
mhm.
is it. If I could give like one piece of advice to people, just show up, be who you are. Don't make apologies for it. Have an awareness of it so that people who you attract are attracted to that and are not repelled by it. It's okay if they're repelled, you don't want them anyway. They're going to
That's
be
right.
in your, they're in your ecosystem, and then they're always like poking at you.
Yeah,
You don't
yeah.
want that. So just be you. I mean, that's the best thing you can possibly do. And for me, like anybody that I approach, I'm like, I have enough technical savvy to do things. Given my druthers, if it's something pretty complicated, I'm going to hand it off. I can
Mhm,
do it, but it's going
mhm,
to take me longer. Let
mhm.
me help you build relationships. Let me help you make that piece the best it can be. And let me help you manage the rest. Like that is where I felt like my strength is. It's just that.
Awesome, great. So how can we be helpful to you today?
Hmm. Hmm. um, like part of it is just be, I wish I would have had this shirt on. Be a kind human. Like be a kind human, but literally to help me. If I were in the receiving mode, which is what I need to be right now, reach out to me if you have like just to my dpattywoods at gmail.com, literally at gmail.com. Because if you have something that you're stumbling on, you're like, God, I really just wish I could nail this one thing because I feel like I am spending way too much time doing it. And a lot of things I'm seeing lately are like the CRM onboarding, because I'm seeing a lot of coaches and freelance creatives. So like this onboarding thing, or God, I can't set up my funnel, like my lead magnet. And I'm like, literally just hit me in your inbox and say, these are the things. Just tell me like, what can I do tools wise, what you would recommend? Like literally, I will do that all day long. I'll be like, these are the tools that I would use based on this. Get with me. I'll help you with that. But I don't even have like my rebrand is so new that I don't even have a lead magnet to send you. Like I would just nurture you that way
Sounds
because
like you need your LBM. The
I
OBM
need
needs
my
an
own,
OBM.
yes, and I did. And I told one of my clients, well, two of my clients, this just like within the last week, I'm like, I need my own implementer.
Mhm,
I need my own implementer. And or project manager, right? Whatever. That is going to become my OBM, because ultimately what happens is I get to do the dialogue and the strategy and the higher up planning, and everything else can be done by a team,
mhm.
the client's team, my team, whatever. Because ultimately there's only so many hours in the day. And if I want to
That's
do a
right.
one and many, right? Which is what I'm
Yes.
going to do. I'm actually into the done with you as opposed to the DIY or DFY,
Mhm.
right? So done with you, I'm actually going to be starting to, I'm probably first quarter, it'll be out, and it is totally beta. It's going to be just like systems, like smooth and silky systems for people who are ready to scale, or people who are, like they're on this growth edge. And so it's going to be like a one to many where I'll probably cap it at like 20 people,
Mhm,
group coaching. It'll be like 6 weeks, and I'll probably do it and see how it goes.
mhm.
And then we'll go from there and develop it. But it will be like we'll have weekly hot seats so that we can dig in and people can learn that show up, and the recordings will be available. So That's what I'm working on right this moment when I have time with all the things on my board.
Right.
Done.
Yes. Great.
So if you want to find out more about that too, you can always drop me an email and just say, hey, I'd really be interested in that mini because it's going to cost you a whole lot less to do it that way than it is for me to be one-on-one with business.
Sure. Especially if you're in that sort of in-between stage, right? Where you're not quite ready.
I feel like
to
an
bring
awkward
someone in.
teenager right now. And I know, like, I feel it. And I know that's who I'm attracting right now, or they're feeling it because I'm in this growth precipice and trying to create the thing over here that helps me leverage my time to more people, right?
Yeah. So if anybody has questions about how to actually get the thing done, putting up your lead magnet, anything like that, they can email you. And also if they want information about your program coming up. So can you just share your email address one more time?
Sure. It is thepattywoods@gmail.com. And then that goes to my business one and then work it from there.
Great. Fantastic. Well, I really enjoyed having you on today, Patty. And I just really enjoyed, I find that the way that you approach things as a OBM is like very interesting because I just love how it's a much more holistic approach and relationship approach, which I don't see very often. So I think that's that was just really fascinating to listen to you talk about that.
Thank you. I'm not quite just the details nerd. I'm also like the relationships creative kind of.
Yes, and mindset, and yes, you're quite deep. So anybody I know who works with you is getting so much more, I think, than they may have thought they would have in an OBM. So definitely, yeah.
Well, thank you, Leanna. It's a pleasure to talk with you always.
Of course, always love hanging out with you. And again, thank you for stopping by. And everybody, again, make sure you hit up Patty if you've got questions for her. And we will talk to you soon. Thanks a lot, Patty.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.